Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today, I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the north, ending with Team 2 in the south. Starting off with Team 1's Western player and working our way eastward across their lineup, we have in Imperial Gray, Yoji as an Aeon. He is a 2,000 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 1 and in the game. Overall, to his east, we have in Ruby Red, Supreme AJ. He is a Cybern as a 1400. To his northeast, in Light Oak 10, is Mega Virus. Hopefully, his team does not incur a virus on their systems and have somebody depart early, but it does happen once in a while, so hopefully it doesn't happen to anybody in this game. He is a UEF, and he is a 1200 to his south. And Batman Gray is Yerfmeister as another Aeon for Team 1. He is a 1600, and last but not least there in Stitch Blue is Caliber as a Seraphim as a 1500. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have one of each of the factions with two Aeon on their side of the map. Starting off with Team 2's Eastern player, working our way westward this time, we have in Barbie Pink, the Aeon player of Psycho Ad. He is an 1800, the highest rated player on Team 2. In Rust to his west is Kent 10. He is a UEF, and he is in Rust as a UEF. To his southwest, and the UEF for Team 2 is Nizar 89. It looks like a 99, but it is 89. He is a UEF, and he is in Chevy Crimson as a 1300. And to his northwest, we have in Orange Color Orange Furfur as a Cybern as a 1700. And last but not least for Team 2 is the Seraphim player already on the move of Localhost. Nice coding reference there. He is a 1600 in Pac-Man Yellow. So for Team 2 side of the map, they also have one of each of the factions with two UEFs. So as a reminder, Team 1 has everybody in terms of all the factions, but two Aeons. Everybody on Team 2 has all the factions, but two UEF. And for 10 players on the map, let's take a look at how much reclaim they have to scoop up. Currently sitting at a little bit over, or a little under, I should say, 13,000 mass. So 1.3k mass per player, roughly. Definitely a decent amount to get those T2 mexes rolling, as well as getting those spam factories online. Pretty much all of the mass resides around the mountains here in this game. There's the central, mountain range, circle, blob, whatever you want to call it. And then on the edges of the map, there are those grouping of mountains as well. And in terms of mass point layouts, let's take a look at Team 2 side of the map. They have 2 Trimex positions on the west and the east, and 2 Quadmex positions also in the west and in the east. And besides that, a couple of one-offs on the front line, and of course ones along the edges of the map as well. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and see what our players are up to. Team 1 has fanned out their ACUs. There's 2 so far in the east, 2 so far in the west, and it does look like the third, being Megavirus, will move into the east to assist that front. The opposite is the case here for Team 2, with 3 players on the west and 2 players on the east. So Team 2 is going to have a stronger front in the west, most likely. Team 1 is going to have a stronger front in the east, most likely, because, of course, things don't normally go the player's way sometimes. So good intentions and all of that definitely does not always lead to good results. No upgrades have been started as of yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody starting one here pretty shortly. We are about 5 minutes in the game. Most of the mexes have been claimed, and of course the last Trimex position is going to be grabbed by Psycho Ad. He's sending a couple of labs on this eastern edge to try to go all the way around his opponents. We do see Caliber, again, trying to get his early units online. There's an engineer for him. That's going to get killed off, unfortunately. First upgrade has been started by Localhost in the west, going for the gun upgrade. And another gun upgrade, this time a Cybern variety, going for Furfur. We do see, of course, Nazar doing his best to deter this incoming lab push outbound from Yoji. They are going to kill off, I think, 1 engineer and maybe kill off 1 mech. They do kill the engineer off. I don't know if they'll kill the mechs off due to the fact that those tanks are inbound to deal with that. We do see a gun upgrade has been started for Supreme AJ in the north. And Psychoad has started his speed upgrade. I feel like in this instance, he definitely could go for range first, but he might have other ideas first. He might try to go for speed and then just do both of the range upgrades back to back We'll see what his strategy is pretty shortly. Speed upgrade coming online here for Yerfmeister. So everybody on the front line besides Team 2's Kent going for gun. So he wants to be a little bit more defensive, and everybody else wants to take more of an aggressive approach. We do see Nazar constantly pushing back the forces from Team 1. And that gun upgrade for both Team 1 and Team 2 are going to alternate the landscape. Range has been started for Yoji, so taking the opposite approach of Psychoad, going for the range first. And the upgrade starting to finish one after the other. Range upgrade has been started for Yerfmeister as well. And going for advanced range immediately after that. So he's going to sit there for a while. But his upgrade has been paused, but he is getting assistance from an engineer or two. In the East, Caliber has not gone for a gun upgrade as of yet, but he's pushing against his opponent of Psychoad, who's almost done with that speed upgrade, which will actually benefit him a lot more due to the fact that those units are moving into weapons range. The range upgrade has been started, so he's going to be pumping out those shots twice as fast. The range trains have done here for Yerfmeister in the East, and speed upgrades started here for Yoji. We do see possible com-on-com action here in the West here. What's with the labs, says Caliber. Who has all the labs? I thought the labs were already over with. I don't see any labs. No idea. I mean, I saw some earlier on, but they were dealt with quite a while ago. We do see Supreme AJ and the comms of Team 2's Nazar and Furfur going at it. It's a Cybrid and a UEF. Nazar doesn't have any sort of upgrades. Furfur has a gun, speed, and range upgrade. Nazar acting as a nice little body shield for his teammate, trying to prevent the losses of hit points, at least some of them, at a minimum. We do see that the speed upgrade is almost done here for Yoji. Localhost is almost in range of the commander, and Localhost is engaging with that gun upgrade. T2 blazes are online. And now we see some forces hook maneuvering around that facility for Yoji. So he's getting a little bit nice, double action here. We're seeing the amount of firepower here for Team 1 is outperforming Team 2's. The first departure is close on the cards here. Yoji is pushing back against Localhost quite significantly here. And this might be the first casualty of the game. Yoji is in the yellow, though. Same here with Localhost, but he's almost in the red as well. He's trying to work for his first star veterancy. That will not necessarily save him entirely, but at least do a great amount of work to prevent his death for a little bit longer. And if he does focus the blazes, he might get that veterancy, but it doesn't look like he's going to. And 300 hit points to him, but he does get a rank veterancy, but it's too late. And there he goes. Team 2 loses the first player of the game at 9 minutes to Yoji. And it is now a 4v5 in favor of the northern team of Team 1. And now it is a 2v2 in the West and a 3v2 in the East in favor of Team 1. We do see that again. Kent is going for the defensive strategy. Has a decent amount of facilities online. The quad facilities just coupled around one little mech to get as much adjacency as he can to reduce costs of units. He hasn't gone for any sort of gun upgrades as of yet. He definitely needs some assistance in that department because he's being pushed by Yerfmeister, who has the advanced range upgrade on board. So the Aeon Sniper Commander is online for Team 1. Damage and range, the only one of its kind in the game in terms of gun upgrades for the UEF Commander of Nazar. And with the departure of Localhost, it opens a door for Yoji to start kind of poking and prodding on the western edges of Team 2's western defenses. We do see that Furfur has taken control of Localhost's old base, which means he's on double eco, 106 mass per second, the most mass being generated by anybody in the game so far. Yerfmeister moving in with a ton of Team 1 artillery. He's going to take out a decent amount of these land facilities. He is pumping out some of those mech marines to be able to deal with this incursion. And Yerfmeister is going to fall back because of this. He has a PD online and getting more of them all the time. The Team 1 will definitely not suit his needs that much because the comm is already out of weapons range. But we do see that the quad mech's position here for Team 2 has been eliminated by Caliber. He just sent his forces straight down the middle. And now all those labs that have been pumped out for defense are now moving in to intercept. A couple of blazes online will deter those incoming FAMs and will force back Caliber's forces. We do see that Megavirus going for his gun upgrade as we speak. He has T3 Air online. Team 2 also has T3 Air online, so a battle for air has started. We do see that Nazar is still holding strong, going after Supreme AJ's forces. FAF has 1-star veterancy, and Nazar has 1-star veterancy, but he also has gun now, which he didn't used to earlier, which has helped him stave off the amount of damage to kill him off, or almost the amount of damage to kill him off. And of course, FAF is trying to split focus between the eastern edge of the west and the western edge of the west. But Yoji's continuing to put that pressure on him, constantly sap away the APM. T1 gunships online for FAF just to do some damage to Supreme AJ's commander. We do see, of course, those jesters, not jesters, but those jesters are not really strong by any means, but of course, really early on, they're really effective for just taking out engineers. T1 AA online will deal with that couple of gunships very quickly. Of course, there's a couple of Sky Slammers as well moving in to intercept. And I would like to see maybe Megavirus gain control of these units just because he's right here next to them, but of course, he is focused on air, which would make sense why he doesn't gain control, but, it would be nice to see that kind of transfer of APM and technologies and the like. We do see, of course, T2 just completely destroying the Team 1 forces for FAF, and Yoji continuing, like I said, to put the pressure on Team 2. Of course, he recognizes this is the weaker flank, and if he continues to push in, he can easily push east and isolate these two commanders between himself and his teammates, essentially making that very difficult for Team 2 to come back from that on that side of the map. A couple of some mobile missile launchers online here for Euromeister. These even songs going after PD and TMD defenses. A lot of labs inbound. Unfortunately, they're not going to do a lot of work here for Team 2 just because Euromeister has the speed upgrade, the range upgrade, and has Blazes guarding him. It does give a little bit of breathing room, but not by much. Still, the Eastern Front is holding on for Team 2, but again, they're slowly losing territory. In terms of generated eco, Team 2 barely in the lead there by about 10 or so mass per second. That's particularly probably due to the fact that, of course, FAF has dual bases, so he's able to get those T2 mechs upgrades on a lot faster than everybody else. But, it's just as time goes on and Team 1 expands both in the east and in the west, that advantage will slip away as more and more mechs fall under the control of Team 1. And more mechs are being taken offline as we speak. Those roaming bands of Blazes and Aurora. We see that now Nazar has to push in westward to deal with this incursion. Lots of T2 units. They are, of course, the Ilshis going to start to push in and going after the Blazes here. There's no Obsidians here for Team 1's Yoji. Definitely surprising because they are one of the best T2 units in the game. It's just continuing to push and push and push back. Yoji again has the range upgrade, not the advance, but does have the range upgrade at a minimum, getting some more PD to protect his commander. But this group of units might just push in and kill Yoji off. They have stopped moving for the time being. There are some PD in range, and those forces will be dealt with quite quickly if FAF does not move them. We do see again, still in the east, Euromeister continuing to push against Kent. Grouping of Mongees get taken out by an overcharge. That's really going to hurt the defensive power of Kent. And I think I'm going to split it just for a little bit because we have a 2v1 going on in the east, and Caliber about to be taken out by T1 PD and some Blazes. Oh, there he goes. I was going to say less than 1,000 hit points or less than 100 hit points, but he is gone. Team 1 suffers their first loss at the hands of Psycho Ad. We do see that Yoji has continued to fall back, but most of those units for FAF have been dealt with. And now we see Supreme AJ has moved in to assist, and at the same time, FAF is moving in, shadowing what his opponent is doing. And with that, Megavirus will be on his own in the eastern edge of the east, and everything transferred over to Euromeister to assist with his pushing of that front line. More Mongees being added to the pile here in the east as well. So Team 1 getting a, not necessarily a taste of their own medicine, but essentially the same thing happened where the side that had 3 commanders lost a commander, which usually you would think it'd be the other way around with 3v2, but in this case, the 2s had it instead of the 3s. It's like Deuces Wild or something playing poker. We do see that, again, Euromeister with the Aeon Sniper commander has severely fallen back, not so far where he's out of, effective range with some of these even songs, but they're all even songs pretty much, so if any sort of T2 forces come inbound, those units are killed off very, very quickly. And he's actually going to fall back and go back to this space over here and protect it while he can. T3 land online, producing Autumns and Aeon Tech as well. Air grid being expanded upon, and everybody on Team 1 has T3 land. How's Team 2 doing with technology? T2 Cybran, T2 Seraphim Tech, T2 Air Tech here, also for Kent. So it's a secondary air player for Team 2. T3, of course, and T3 Aeon as well. So everybody pretty much has at least one T3 land or air facility at their disposal. There's lots of radar systems online for both players just to make sure that they have intel gathering operations going all the time. And we have some air scouts flying around just to get visual confirmations on things as well. Love to see constantly gaining intelligence here for both teams because you desperately need it. I would like to see one of these middle ones get upgraded to possibly a T3, but it is only 16.5 minutes, so it's not that important to get T3, but the sooner the better. But of course you got to be able to keep that online, so it's better to keep a T2 to be able to pay for it, and rather than upgrade the T3 and not be able to pay for it, then you kind of have to not have one online, which is annoying. Stealth coming online here for Supreme AJ, and I'm going to speed it up back to 1. Because it looks like the front lines have kind of cooled down. Each team has lost one player. Shield started here for Psychoad. He isn't going for the advanced range. He's going for a little more survivability first. Couple of ASF guarding a nice little broadsword here for Megavirus. And ASF inbound from Nizar move in to deal with that protection duty. It looks like he has a little bit of an advantage in the air. But again, 17.5 minutes. Having 10 more ASFs than your opponent isn't the best thing in the world. It's better than having none, but it's not the end-all be-all. It's when he gets to like 50, 60, 120, 300, those kind of values where it really starts to, of course, make a difference. Advanced range has been started for Yoji. He also went for shield, so they both want to protect themselves in terms of the Aeon commanders. Stealth has, again, still been started here for Supreme AJ, but he's almost done with that. He'll probably go for Nano, specifically considering the fact that he has T3 units online. And if he is going to push with that commander, he definitely wants the added hit point and region protection. Another broadsword going to be roaming the eastern side of the map here for Team 1. And T3 Omni online for Psychoad. I feel like this one or this one would be better to upgrade to T3, but, having one is better than none. Of course, the shield is almost done. He doesn't have a lot of AA in the mist. He does have a couple of Ascendants. And the Mechs are going to be the target. He takes out the Omni. Great grab here by Megavirus. He saw the vulnerability and went, oh, I'm going to take out an Omni, because why the heck not? That's just free real estate. We do see right down the western edge of the middle here, eastern edge of the west, I should say. Team 1's Ruby Red player of Supreme AJ sends his forces in, kills off a T2 Mechs about to get ringed. Another T2 Mechs that is ringed, possibly going to be taken offline, but a couple of broadswords and stingers are inbound from Team 2's air forces to deal with this. And Mongoose as well get pulled from the front line in the east and move to the west. Most of those loyalists have been dealt with, and there are a couple of rhinos in that will kill a couple more mexes off, but great attempt here by Supreme AJ. Buys him enough time, or most enough time, to get the nano repair upgrade online. But of course, it looks like a lot of Team 2's western focus has now shifted to Yoji and almost ignoring AJ for the time being. Of course, again, 2 mechs is taken offline. Third mech's almost taken offline, and 1 facility is also taken offline. So not a huge loss for Kent. It's 12 mass a second at a minimum, if not 15 or so. So he definitely, it hurts a little bit, but it's not terribly lost in terms of mass per second. But in terms of the game overall, at 20 minutes on the clock almost, Team 1 that's sitting at 4 players left, losing Caliber, and Team 2 sitting at 4 as well, losing Local Host earlier on in the game. Team 1 sitting at about a 200 mass advantage per second over Team 2, almost 1,000 mass for Team 1 per second. Team 2 at 750 roughly. It's a huge advantage here, especially if that gap gets even wider as the game progresses. We'll see how Team 2 manages that. Let me know down in the comments what you think is going to happen in this game. Who's going to win? Who's going to die? Who's going to claim the MVP slot? Thank you so much for watching to this point in the video. And to show that love, please like and subscribe to the channel and the video. Because you can't subscribe to the video, but you can like it and share this video with anyone, everyone, and especially your pets. And again, thank you so much for everybody who did participate in the poll for my campaign video yesterday. I really do appreciate it. And of course, thank you so very much for your continued support in my efforts to make sure that this game is seen by anyone and everyone. We do see in the west the Monkey Lord is online for Fur at 20 minutes. First experimental has been built. Raz coming online here for Yerfmeister. I don't see any efforts to go for any experimentals as of yet for Team 1. I would be surprised to see one after Team 1 sees Team 2's Monkey Lord. A couple bands of Harbingers rolling around, but there are more numbers of these off them, so they're not going to get that much work out of them, unfortunately. T3 coming online here for Kent as well. Probably going to go for Ravagers and sort of Ravager creep on that eastern flank. And gunships going after Yoji's commander. There's not a lot of AA surrounding him. Lots of asylums, though. That'll protect him for a little bit. Looks like the broadswords now going after all of those asylums first to deal with any sort of protectionary efforts. And land engagements also will focus these, I was going to say Mantis, but these Harbingers and other land units on the bricks. We do see the Monkey Lord is going to move into range here pretty shortly. ASF fight does occur over top of Yoji's forces. There's still a broadsword in there. It's going to slowly poke and prod at Yoji. He's dropped into the yellow. That 8,000 hit points really coming into clutch right now. He pretty much would have died if it wasn't for those. But for now, it's not looking good here for Team 1's western flank. It's collapsing at the current moment. The only thing that really Supreme could do is either push in, try to attack this position, or cut into the west and try to encircle the Monkey Lord. But I think he's just going to send it in and go for the front line. On the eastern side of things, looks like there's an outcropping of Percy's and Harbingers having a fit over which unit is the best, but there's also some long-armed, younger brother of the Percy, the Mongoose. You can see they're very similar in design. And, of course, they have a grenade launcher as well, which the Percys do not. But the Percys, of course, are just the best T3 unit, land unit in the game, so they don't really need. But if you gave them anything else, it would be way too much. The transport picks up Yoji's commander, gets him back to base, and he makes it out of dodge. But for now, of course, there's a large group of T2, a couple of T3 units, and a T4 Monkey Lord online here. And at the same time, of course, we have AJ providing a nice distraction for Team 1 as the forces for Team 1 do try to recuperate. But Fur is in range of a decent amount of bricks, and Rhinos, this could be another departure here for Team 2. Definitely unfortunate. He was doing so well, and there he goes. I don't know if it was a control K or an actual kill. It was an actual kill. It looked like he would control K just before he died. ASF have another fight over here to the west, but that Monkey Lord continuing to just barrel down on Yoji's front door. This might be a huge loss here for Team 1 if they... Oh, but the transfer of control of units does happen. It gives Team 1 a little bit more time, but that laser is now going to be in range going after all of those PD. The shields don't hold. And there go all of those T2 Oblivion PD emplacements. There's a couple of Pigeons there. That's going to kill off a decent amount of PD as well. There are bricks and other Ilshis moving in to assist. Yoji's base is starting to crumble here. I don't see anything else so far besides the group of units outbound from AJ that have been dealt with in this, but I have not so much air to stop Monkey Lord, says Mega Virus. Unfortunately for Team 1, they don't have enough air forces to deal with this. Broadsword is inbound, but one broadsword isn't going to be enough to deal with one Monkey Lord, at least in any time soon. Yoji has continued to fall back. There is a Monkey Lord now online for AJ. That will intercept that experimental from Team 2, but the damage is done. The base is gone for Yoji. Look at his eco. He's only at 187. I say only 187 at 24 minutes. Monkey Lord still trying to get out of range of those PD emplacements. Kills off a Mechs. Continues to drop Yoji's eco. He's just going to face death, that Monkey Lord, and call it a day. He's done the damage to kill over probably 50,000 mass and then some. This Monkey Lord will mop up the rest of those forces, and it'll just be a slow crawl back to normalcy here for Yoji. Hey, that says new normal for the time being. In the east, a little bit still quiet on that eastern front, though. Team 2, what are you doing in the interim? They have the mass lead now, 1.3k mass versus 1.1 air grid being expanded upon here by Nizar, and Kent, of course, still holding out in his little bunker that he's made. Kind of just hanging out, turtling up in that position. And in the west, now Psychoad has control of the entire western front, and not necessarily eastern front as well, but we don't see a lot of forward movement here from Kent, so he's mainly on defense mode. And Psychoad's, of course, now going to be on defense mode, going after a lot of wrecks with his engineers, getting more of that reclaim in his coffers. Large group of mass, of course, with the death of the everything up here for Yoji. Yoji most likely will be donated a couple of hives and an ion reactor, so that way he can get his eco back up and running. Love to see the teamwork here from Team 1's Supreme AJ to help rebuild his teammate. You can see that is helping out tremendously for him, getting him back on his feet. He's now on positive energy income, so he's trying to, again, do his best. We do see that Mega Virus going for an upgrade. I think he's going for T3 because he already has Shield and Raz. He might be switching that up for Missile Launcher, maybe, but most likely it's T3. And, of course, Yerfmeister also building a chicken in the east as well. I don't see any other experimentals on the front. Oh, no, there's one Colossus, so Yerfmeister's built that in the interim. But there's, of course, a decent amount of Team D, and more shields are being built. There are some Ravagers in here. It's going to be a little bit of a tall order. Not too much, though, because there's a lot of Authams and Harbingers to help assist in breaking through the defenses on that western side of the east. The game has kind of slowed down once a little bit more, so I'm going to speed it up just a tiny smidgen as we wait for this inevitable crash of forces. Aeon and a little bit of Aeon and mostly UEF versus a decent mix of Aeon and Seraphim. I'd say it's about half and half, given the Aeons have the Colossus and the Seraphim side have most of the T3 units. And we just see Perseus and Otham just being grabbed and thrown around. Group of broadswords is inbound going for that Colossus. Not a lot of AA support, unfortunately. There's a couple of lightning tanks back here, apologies. But they're going to, of course, focus down that Colossus. If some of those T3 units don't move, they're going to get crushed, and a lot of them are going to. Definitely unfortunate here for Team 1's land incursion. There goes a couple of Authams. Died off. That Colossus still remains. It will most likely be killed by the remaining Authams and Harbingers. But now we see Psychoad's forces pushing into the west. A couple of gunships take the opportunity to go after more of that eco for Psychoad. But Psychoad's no longer here. He's fallen back to his main base. And this is a nice little mass dump for Team 2. Most likely will be shared between Psycho and Kent. And a large amount of units outbound pouring in from Supreme Agent to at least re-stabilize the western front while his teammate of Yoji gets things back up and running. Artillery has been started by Megavirus in the back. Also has an SMD and gating in. Oh, he's not gating in any Raspors. Interesting, he just has it online. Line of FAF is going to be built by Megavirus. That's where he's spending all of his mass. Chicken has been built by Yerfmeister. And he's sending into the front line once again. Another land battle will occur. This time it's still mainly Authams and Harbingers, but now a Seraphim experimental is the front runner here for this incursion. We do see that, of course, there's another Colossus built by Psychoad. And in 1v1 game, that's Colossus wins every day of the week. ASF fight happens once again, now over Team 2 side of the map, protecting those gunships here, getting a decent amount of value out of them. They've killed off a nice little mechs and going after a T3 land facility. There's also now a Redeemer online, so it's going after those gunships as we speak. And we see the Perseus trying to pull that chicken into range of the Ravagers. We see some units already being blitzed down by that longer range PD emplacement. Monkey Lord that killed off Team 2's Monkey Lord earlier on, now being taken out by some broadswords and some bricks, but it looks like that Monkey Lord will survive at 1-star veterancy and 10,000 hit points. There's really nothing that will stop this group of units, and Supreme Agent will get a lot of value out of it, unless Team 2 has some gunships, like just holding position somewhere. Another Colossus is done, and another Colossus is done. Psychoad pumping those out quite quickly. A Crab is almost done here for Psychoad and Nazar. Most likely will be gifted over to Psychoad once it completed. I think it's actually being built. Yeah, it's being built by Psychoad. I just didn't see the color till now. But that Monkey Lord, it's going to survive. It's getting hit points back. 60 hit points a second is a decent amount to get back. But on a unit that has 58,000, it's pennies considering. But, something's better than nothing at this point in any game, regardless if it's 1 minute, 10 minutes, or 2 hours. It's, something's better than nothing. Looks like now Raspors are being built. Gated, I should say gated in by the air player of Virus. We do see that chicken is now online again. So there's 2 chickens online for Team 1 on the eastern side. T2 artillery also starting to poke and prod at the units building up here for a staging area waiting to engage. Monkey Lord has officially now been taken out by Team 2's air power from Nazar, and Crab is slowly making its way into range of those incoming forces. ASF's going to take out those gunships, but their gunships did their job. They took out the T4 threat and will be thanked for their service. Crab going to get a lot of value out of this. He's really going to fight this not necessarily unopposed, but pretty much unopposed. Of course, the ecos here now still in favor of Team 2, but it's dropping with all these bricks and redeemers, whatnot, running around this western front. And now we have some more broadswords running around the air for Virus, going after more and more stuff on that western front. T3 mechs not ring, T2 mechs not ring, Team 1 mechs not ring. Of course, we really don't ring Team 1 mechs, but just depends on your situation and whatnot. And there's a couple loyalists that make it through, but I don't know if they'll be that valuable. There are a couple of T3 mechs that are pretty vulnerable here. There's no other units on the ground that can deal with this. A couple of Ilshis are being built, though, so that might be enough to deal with those loyalists, but I don't think it'll be that much damage on Team 2's side, at least for Psychoat's main base. One of the main bases. Tons of Percys being built and tons of T2 parashields as well. Love to see it. Cougars love this mix of units. Probably would like to see a couple Titans in there just to go for those weaker, faster T2, T1 units that Team 1, may or may not have. They're easier for like those weaker targets because they fire so quickly. Like the Cerberus PD. They're really good at T1s, some T2s, but they're mainly designed to go after the weaker units, not anything with a lot of meat on its bones. Broadsword trying to take out this Loyalist, but the Loyalists are going to be able to take out another T3 mechs for Psychorad. They need to go back and take this one out. There's only 2,100 hit points remaining. Looks like they're doing that as we speak. There's another one that's also decently damaged as well. Ilshis are like, wait a second, there's units here, and let's go back and deal with that. 2 chickens pushing in, but there's also 2 Colossi. Neither player wants to, shove their units forward, because if they die and they don't claim the territory, that's mass in the other team's coffers. Large group of Yoji's forces are now being added to Supreme AJ's forces. How's that artillery going? It's still on the yellow. It's still on the red. Excuse me. Looks like this mainly just to focus on eco at the current moment. Team 1 now skyrocketing ahead of Team 2 at 1.8 versus 1.5. A lot of that due to a decent amount of losses on the western front, but also, of course, with the Rascoms getting in here. We see that Yerfmeister's at 680, followed closely behind Yoji and Mega. And, of course, Psychoat is the front runner for the game at almost 800 mass income, sitting on 3 bases. That definitely makes sense why he'd be that far ahead. Fat Boy says Yerf, and there is a Fat Boy. And that will force the land army to disengage, but there's also a Fat Boy online from Mega as well. So 1 Colossus, 2 chickens, and a Fat Boy versus 2 Colossus and 1 Fat Boy. Sorry, 3 Colossus and 1 Fat Boy. We'll see. Oh, sorry, 4 Colossus online. And everything from Psychoat's forces being transferred over to Kent. So he's going to micro this large group of forces. And it looks like that fight is going to occur at the same time that the western flank's being attacked. Love this 2-pronged attack here. Not having one front be attacked and the other front be attacked. They're both being attacked at the same time, distracting Team 2 as best they can, trying to, again, just split their focus up a decent amount. Crab being completely surrounded by air and ground forces. Air 1 force, but everything else is on land. There is a monkey trying to save his Bricker brother of the Crab. I don't know if they will, but they will do a lot of damage before that Crab is taken out. Looks like the forces disengage again for the Yerfmeister in the east for Team 1. It looks like the ASF have now completely just sprung up from like weeds or something and completely destroyed the ASF forces for Megavirus. We do see a couple more Corsairs moving in for Yoji, but I don't know if they'll do that much damage considering the fact that, of course, there's already ASF hanging out. Looks like they're going to continue to engage. Monkey Lord doing its best to hold off. There's another Monkey Lord as well for Psychoats, who has 2 of them running around the map here, and a Colossus now going to move in and go after this base once again. Looks like there's an artillery that could possibly be built here. That's the framework for that, at least. So we could see a Duke being built by Team 2 as well. Team 1 still producing their Duke. It's still in the red, but, it's going up a little bit by a little bit. But 4 Colossi walk into a bar, and some chickens say no. Forces engage both in the air and the land. Chicken going to try to run up and get some Ion Storm nonsense on those Colossi. But now we see some forces from the east as well moving in to assist. And this is just getting a huge cluster. We see that the forces from Team 2's can actually split around the Colossus to trying to encircle their opponents. Great movement here, not letting them go straight through the Ion Storm. Colossus soaking up most of their attention. Love to see that because, of course, sometimes with the chicken AoE, they're able to get units at the feet of the Colossus, but all those chickens are now destroyed. It opens the door for these units on the west and the east to continue to push in. Love that movement here from Team 2's Kent. Love it, love it, love it. Corsair's moving in, targeting the Fat Boy. The Fat Boy has lost his shields, but the rest of that flak and AA is enough to deal with those incoming forces. Every game, Mega says idiots. Every game. And we do see that Ken is now being chased by that Colossus. I think he'll be fine, though. We'll take a T3 Mechs though before it dies. Maverick clone, says Caliber. I wouldn't say Maverick clone. Definitely not. He's not flaming as much as Maverick would. Or has, I should say, in other games that I have casted. Fat Boy is retreating, trying to do as much damage before those units get to the main base of Eurofmeister. Colossus trying to do what he can, taking a couple of units hostage. But we do see an SMD that is going to go offline. Does Team 2 have a nuke that they could use to wipe out a base? No, by the looks of it. And it does look like this possible artillery base has been knocked offline. Artillery for Team 1 still being built, but still not being focused down. Colossus continuing to push in. There's one survivor of that engagement, and that might be enough. There's, of course, a decent amount of engineers nearby. Nuke is launched. Oh, there was one. Apologies. It was on the edge. You're probably like, it's right there. It's right there. You don't see it because the engineers, it's right there. But it is online. Where is it going? It's going for Yoji's base. SMD is about to be loaded. SMD here is not loaded. That could be devastating for Yoji. That might just knock him out of the game almost entirely. Second Colossus is online. It will halt this attack outbound from Kent, but most of the damage is already done. He's taken out the land army. He's getting engineers to scoop up that engagement, and that nuke is going to land. And now we see that Team 1 loses Eurofmeister, it looks like, to Kent's forces. He was sitting there. He didn't fall back. I saw Megavirus fall back, so I thought Eurf did as well, but he did not. And, of course, kaboom, takes out a decent chunk of Yoji's base. Didn't go for the eco, went for the production facilities. Nuking Yoji as if he's not been through. Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's just completely focusing on Yoji over there. Oh, that just feels bad. He said exactly what I felt. It's like, wow, they're really focusing on Yoji a lot. I mean, he is the highest ranked player in the game, to be fair, and he is sitting on 1,000 mass now that Eurofmeister has been taken out. But, you know, he's been hit pretty hard this game, and he's still going. So, again, just the tenacity of these players in these games is just astounding. And we see all the forces now for Yoji just pushing in eastward, closing in any sort of holes that Team 2 will try to exploit. And, of course, they're trying to scooping up those wrecks. And they are, love to see them, the Sparkies, which they do some damage, not a lot. But, again, they're not completely defenseless. They're definitely combatants. They're not non-combatants because they have a weapon on board. And is there any sort of other big-ticket items besides the nuke that's almost loaded once again? Huge air grid here for Nizar. It is a 3v3 tied-up game here at 37 minutes on the clock. I don't know where that shot's going, but it's going somewhere. And all of these forces going to just force them into a corner and wipe them out. Well, essentially a shooting gallery, not shooting gallery, but a firing line style. Firing squad, that's the word. I was like, firing line, that's not the word I'm looking for. Firing squad. Artillery now being more focused down here for Team 1's Megavirus. I feel like if he focused it down focused it down a little bit more, then he would have a lot more utility in the game. But he's focusing on other things. Nuke is going to land, take out this position for Yoji. So, okay, so that was Eurofmeister's base. So probably doesn't feel as bad. If you went after this position again, that definitely would hurt. But there is two SMDs. One of them is loaded. One of them is not. We have two Monkeloids pushing in with a crab being built right next to them. Colossus, crab, and monkey online. Of course, Colossus being pushed into a, not, wow, I can, okay. Megalith pushing into the firebase that Kent built a long time ago, and Colossus moving in to intercept. Crab will get a lot of damage down on it, but of course the mass will be donated, so it's one of those, do you kill off the defenses and just kind of leave it? But there goes the nuke. Kaboom! Takes out a couple of mass points, but mainly it's the production facilities. No anti. I mean, it was killed off earlier on, so that's why it wasn't there. I mean, we saw it had 4 shields around it and whatnot. It was there. It just got destroyed. Monkey gonna land in some hot water here with a Fat Boy and a Crab. Takes the Fat Boy shields offline, but is gonna just dump more mass on Team 2 side of the map. That's really where Team 1 is hurting, is, they're just dumping mass. You can see Team 2 double the mass in terms of reclaim than Team 1, and Team 2 is in the lead for mass generated overall as well. See, it's actually tied overall at 2.53 million, but in terms of per second, Team 2 is in the lead. And another push on Yoji's western front. Man, he is just getting bodied this game. And Megavirus just constantly going in chat. I knew that was you. Says Maverick. Your Master Maverick, I knew that was you. Man, it's just flaming in the chat here from him. Again, as I always say when stuff like this happens, there is a degree of, yeah, I get it, you're frustrated, you want to vent, I get it, but there is a line. And some players don't cross it, but some players do cross it. So I leave it up to everybody to give their own opinions about that. But there is some instances where it's just too overt that I'm like, I gotta call it out. But most of the time I kind of just leave that alone and let everybody decide one way or the other if that was okay or not okay. But of course I have a different opinion than you watching this, or somebody else watching this, or somebody 2 years from now watching this. Everybody has a different opinion. That's perfectly fine with me, because everybody has an opinion. My opinion is not the only opinion, or is not the correct opinion. We do see that trio of Monkey, Crab, and Colossus still pushing in. There is Monkey for defense, but it's not really going to make a huge difference. If the Crab comes online here shortly, it might be enough. But there is another Monkey back here and a Nuke. If the Nuke is loaded in time, they could be used to deal with this grouping, but the Monkey's already dead. The defenses are crumbling for Team 1 on that western front. Eastern side's kind of been devoid of forces because they're all up here on the front line. Fap, we're just going to run headfirst into some Colossi and go, that was a dumb mistake. And yeah, that was a dumb mistake. And that Fat Boy gets absolutely ripped apart. Team 2 is losing defenses, but now they have 4 Colossi moving into range. And unfortunately, Team 1 cannot pull out in time. And this base is going to go offline eventually, but this is just going to be another mass dump for Team 2 to scoop up. And only going to just continue to expand that lead in a reclaim in the western as well. I will split it because there are 2 major engagements going on. In the northwest, Yoji's base being attacked once again, and Broadsword is taking out Yoji's other stuff to the west. Colossus continuing to go after, just full sending it in the base. Monkey is already gone. Crab is now online. And there's another Crab also behind this Crab, so there's 2 Crabs here for Team 1. And those units, at least the survivors, do flee in the face of those 4 Colossi to the east, but the damage is done. That mass is on Team 2's side of the map, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon except in Team 2's coffer. Specifically, Kent and Psychoad. They've been doing a decent job of sharing for the most part. Kent has 110,000. Psychoad has 250,000. 250,000 mass. And there goes Team 1's Yoji, who was sitting up here to the northwest and was assassinated by Broadswords. It's now a 3v2 game in favor of Team 2. And with that, it's really not looking good here for Team 1. We have a couple of strap bombers running around. Of course, I think that Supreme Age is going to grab all of this as well. He's going to try to hold the line here for his team. Need to switch back to mass income instead of reclaim. Air grid kind of been stopped. Novak Center has been completed. Shield Heavy has now been started here. And Nuke is loaded and half loaded for a second one. Mavor has been started by Kent because why not? I think he just needs to spend his mass. I think is probably what it is. No, he's spending plenty of his mass. Okay, it's not a huge issue. But he does have some Rex to scoop up, so there is that. And with this push of 4 Colossi. I don't think Team 1 has enough to hold off Team 2. There are 1 crab and 2 monkeys. But it's not going to be enough, like I said, because all these forces are going to go east to deal with these 4 Colossi, and it's just going to be a walk to the end, I think, at this point. And, of course, now we see just constant chat comments about Maverick. And let me know down in the comments if you think Megavirus is Maverick. Everybody thinks he is. Possibly could be. That's not 100% guarantee, but it could be. Of course, artillery is online here for Megavirus, going after, I don't know what he would go after. Air grid would be a nice target. I think that is what he's going after. That or the Mavor that's possibly going to be built, but I don't think it's going to be built in time to really make any sort of efforts in the game. And I get it. Maybe he's on a losing streak and he's just like, I played 5 or 6 games today and it's just every game I lose and it's frustrating. And I get that. I've been there. It sucks. But at the end of the day, there's only so much control your team has over the game. Nuke is going to land on those production facilities, staying out of range of this SMD over here. That's going to be a nice little weight off Team 2's attacking forces' shoulders. And they're just going to send it against the air grid. And once that's gone and the artillery is gone, that's pretty much game right there. Shield heavy is done. Those 4 Colossi are walking in. Supreme AJ has started a laser. He just wants to help out the best he can. And he's going to go for laser to do that. We do see that Megavirus is back here to the north. There's no water to hide in as well, so it's just your comm is constantly exposed. There goes the nuke. Kaboom! Takes out most of those facilities, most of the spam facilities in the east. And unfortunately, at this point, they weren't really making a dent in those attacking forces. Are they just sending it in against... It looks like they're just actually avoiding the air grid altogether and going after Megavirus' commander. Heat control Ks. GG's in the chat. And of course, 44 minutes on the clock. Laser is now done. The question is, will he go for cloaking and just try to do what he can on the land side of things? ASF waiting in tow for something, but here comes the incoming Colossi to the base. Teleporter has been started, so he's going for the play of just teleporting in and killing something off. It's going pretty quick for him, 10%. And he has the power to sustain it, so he just needs the build power to really spend as much as he can. 30% in climbing at this point. I'm going to speed it up because that air grid is just, it's gone. There's no helping it. Artillery is being focused down now by those Harbingers. Teleporter at 70% in climbing. He's got to, of course, build it and then essentially activate it. Is he just going to, he's got to, if you're going to build it, you might as well just send it now. There he goes. He's going to send it in. That's going to be the last big move of the game. Try to kill something off. He's going for the air grid, it looks like. And it will do a decent amount of damage. Some of the facilities were knocked offline by that artillery, but wasn't enough. Emissary was built down here. Mavor was about to tick over into the yellow. But I don't think, of course, it's going to amount to a whole lot at this point. Supreme AI, there he goes. He's going to be sent in. He's going to be spotted by Team 2. There's gunships already deployed to deal with this. Of course, he's cracking the shielding. He goes for the pigeons, get maximum damage for maximum effort. Supreme AI gets his 4th veterancy. Almost about to get his 5th. He's got to move. He knows he's the last remaining player on Team 1. He's going to go for big or go for, go big or go home. Pigeon going to be knocked offline. This Pigeon's going to be knocked offline. But there he goes. Killed off by strat bombers and gunships. And there he goes. Team 2 wins the game at 46 minutes on the clock. And MVPs for this game, I think I got to give it to Psycho Ad because he did a very good job just kind of holding position in the east. Of course, most of the focus from Team 1 was after Kent. And then once he took over on the west, it was just a push, fall back, push on Yoji. Once that collapsed, that was pretty much the game. And it was just the slow creep of death on Team 1. I do feel like all of the donations by Team 1, especially on the eastern side, really contributed to Team 2's win because they had so much mass at their fingertips. And of course, especially when Psycho Ad took over the entire western front, all this mass that was sitting right here that he was helping to deal with incoming from Team 1, scooping it up, putting into projects over here to the west, and it really just forced its way forward. So I think Psychoad gets MVP for this game. Let me know down in the comments if you thought so or not. Of course, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching to the end of the video. And I will see all of you in the next one.